Today we're going to talk about 2022's best travel credit cards. 4 miles, have no annual fee, and have a lower required spending. Because if you didn't know, travel credit cards are notorious for having annual fees that are pretty high compared to other cards, and they're also notorious for having a pretty high required minimum spending to get these amazing sign-up bonuses they advertise. Because yeah, it would be great if you could get that many miles, but if you look at the fine print, a lot of times you have to spend a lot of money within a given period of time. But we're gonna go over the cards in different categories, which will help you determine which credit card will be best for you. And I'm gonna put the timestamps down below so you can skip to the different parts if you think one applies best for you. But keep in mind, there's little caveats that make a card maybe better for you, not based on the 5 categories we talked about. So I recommend watching all of them, but if you wanna skip to a certain part, they are down below. We're gonna talk about them first in restaurants. So if you spend a lot of money on restaurants, I think this is probably gonna be the best card for you. Then we're gonna talk about the card that has the highest guaranteed sign-up bonus. Then the third one we're gonna go over is kind of a tie with the second one on being the best for everyday spending, and it could possibly have an even higher spending bonus, or sign-up bonus I should say, if you spend a certain amount of money. And then we're gonna talk about the best credit card for specifically buying airline tickets or purchasing things through different airlines. And the fifth one is a bonus one, which I think is the best card all around when it comes to travel credit cards, but it has a pretty big contingency to it, a big little if part of it. Now before we get started, please hit the like button and the subscribe button down below. I'm really trying to grow this channel this year. I post new videos every single Wednesday, so help a girl out for helping you and hit the like button and the subscribe button. I know you're not doing it, so please hit it. And I'll also link down below all my other credit card videos to help you out if you're looking for other specific things about credit cards. But let's get back to the video before I keep self-promoting and you click out of the video. So back to the video. The first card we're gonna go over is the best one for restaurants, and that is the US Bank Altitude Go Visa Signature Card. And yes, I had to look down at my notes for that one because that is a very long name. And I do want to let you know that when you are shopping for credit cards, some of them have very similar names but can be very different cards. So I'm going to link down below all the different cards in the order that we're going to talk about them in the video so you don't get them mixed up, because we're actually going to talk about another US Bank card later in the video. So keep that in mind, and they're also not special links. I do not currently have sign-up bonuses for any of those cards. All the sign-up bonuses are directly through the company and not based on using the link that I give you. They're not referrals. But either way, all that talking aside, the reason why I chose this one for restaurants was because it seemed to give you the most amount of money back for using that card at restaurants. Because it gives you 4 times the points on dining, takeout, and restaurant delivery. Now throughout this video, you're going to hear times, percent, miles, and points. They're almost the same thing. It just depends on how they're redeemed and how the company decided to label them and name them. But in general, they're basically the same meaning. I'm saying basically because there are little caveats, but saying 4 times or 4% or 4 miles or 4 points can mean almost the same thing throughout these companies. But for this card specifically is 4 times. And then you're also going to get 2 times back on grocery stores, grocery store delivery, streaming services, gas stations, and EV charging stations, and then 1 times on rest of your eligible purchases, which is almost any purchase on the card. Now that being said, this makes it the best one for restaurants because 4 times on restaurants is really good. And those are the points you're going to earn on purchases that you spend on that specific card throughout the lifetime of you owning it, as long as the company doesn't change it down the road, but it usually doesn't. Now, the thing that is specific to signing up for the card and not an ongoing benefit is the sign-up bonus. So the sign-up bonus for this one is 20,000 points, which is equal to a $200 value, and that is once you spend $1,000 within 90 days. So you do not get that sign-up bonus unless you spend $1,000 in 90 days. But even if you did not get that sign-up bonus, it is still a great amount of cash back for spending money at restaurants. Now the next one I want to go over is definitely the best one specifically for sign-up bonuses, and that card is going to be Bank of America Travel Rewards Credit Card. And before I get into that amazing sign-up bonus, first I just have to say it does give you 1.5 points per dollar you spend on the card. So similar to the 4 times, it's like saying 1.5 times for this card, but it's going to be 1.5 points per dollar spent. And that is a flat point system. Basically, you're going to get those points on almost all purchases, and it's not based on a certain category. So for everyday spending, that's technically better than the last card we talked about. So it could be best for everyday spending because you're going to get 1.5 instead of 1 times like the last card we talked about. And then the most important part of this card that makes it fit in this category of being the best for a guaranteed sign-up bonus is the fact that it's going to give you 25,000 bonus points, which is equal to a $250 value. And that is higher than the last one we talked about. And that's if you spend the same amount of money, $1,000 within 90 days. So technically the upfront value of this card is higher than the first one we talked about. And the third card I want to talk about is the Discover It Miles card. And that's almost a tie with the Bank of America credit card for being a card that you could use on everyday purchases and get the most amount of value and could possibly have an even higher sign-up bonus. So let me explain why I decided to include it. Because it also has 1.5 miles. So this one's not points, this one's going to be miles, but again, similar concept on all of your purchases. So it's going to be almost the same amount of value for everyday spending. But the sign-up bonus on this card is very different than any of the other cards we're going to talk about. And it could possibly be the highest benefit of all because it's actually an unlimited offer. And it doesn't require you to technically spend any money to get the offer. What it's going to do is it's actually going to match whatever miles you earn within the first year, unlimited, and it's going to give it to you again. So basically whatever you earn, they're going to give it to you again. So it's almost like double the amount of miles within the first year. Almost. It's not, the math doesn't work out exactly like that. So if you spend a good amount of money within a given year, this could be a way better offer for you because it's going to give you it again. Now, that being said, if you don't spend that much money on this card, it could be a really low sign-up bonus, and you do also have to wait a year for this sign-up bonus because it's going to calculate the year amount of what you earned and give it to you again. And that being said, that's why this one can be a little bit more complicated on if its sign-up bonus is a better offer or not, and that's why I had to slip it in there because it could possibly be a better offer. Now, the fourth category I want to talk about is airlines, because after all, it is a travel video, so how can I skip over airlines credit cards? Now we're going to talk about 3 different credit cards. Now every single airline has their own credit card and a bunch of different types of credit cards, but the 3 we're going to go over are the American Airlines AA Advantage Mile Up card, the Delta Sky Miles Blue American Express card, and the United Gateway card. And yes, I had to look at the names of all of those because they're super long. Now the benefits to each one of these cards are pretty similar, and that's why I chose them all. They're all going to have 2 times or 2 miles depending on the card. Again, basically the same thing on all purchases you make through the company. So that's why you should pick the one that you fly with the most, so you're going to get the most amount of benefit. Now that being said, the sign-up bonuses are similar but not exactly the same. Delta and American, you're going to get 10,000 points or 10,000 miles depending on the card, and with United, lucky you if you fly United more because you're going to get 20,000 points. So it does have a higher sign-up value if you spend a certain amount of money in a certain amount of given time, but either way they're pretty similar on their times back and their sign-up bonuses, so you should do it based on who you fly with the most. Now with all that being said, just because these are airline credit cards, it does not make them the best credit cards for travel. Because if you're not regularly flying with the same company, the regular value on the card is not actually that great. Some of the other cards we talked about would have a better value for regular purchases than these cards would. And in addition to that, the sign-up bonuses on them aren't that high. Most of the ones that I was seeing were at least 20,000 points, like the United is. And in addition to that, the second credit card we talked about was 25,000 points. So that sign-up bonus is even better, and the third card could be even higher than that. So overall, unless you're flying with the same company and you're flying on a regular basis, I do not recommend airline credit cards at all. The value to them is nowhere near as high as the value to other companies' cards that also don't have a yearly fee. Now that being said, some airlines do have amazing credit cards with yearly fees that I would say are better than other ones. But without a yearly fee, I would not recommend these cards without regular travel. And I mean regular travel, because it's just not going to be, the benefit's not there. Now the fifth card I want to talk about, I think is one of the best travel credit cards as of right now. But it does have a huge caveat, and it's time to tell you guys that caveat. Now I said every single one of the credit cards in this video does not have a yearly fee. And this card doesn't have a yearly fee for the first year. But it does have a yearly fee after that. And it's $95 annually. Now I do say I try to avoid all cards that have a yearly fee. In most cases, I don't find it worth it. But this card might be an exception to that. Its benefits on a regular basis and its sign-up bonus is pretty good right now if you're looking for a travel credit card. And that $95 annually is way lower than most other travel credit cards. Most other travel credit cards are hundreds of dollars a year. So $95 is on the basically almost lowest end of the spectrum when it comes to yearly fees. So it's not that much of a caveat, but it's still a caveat. And the reason why I decided to include it is because of all the benefits of it. You're going to get 5 times back on all prepaid, so it means you have to buy it through the company, hotels, and car rentals. Then you're going to get 5 times the points on travel, gas stations, and EV charging stations. You're going to get 2 times the points on grocery stores, dining, and streaming services. And you're going to get 1 times the points on all eligible other purchases, so almost all other purchases. So for the most part, those points are going to be better than the other cards we talked about, especially for travel. Because you're going to get 4 times the points on travel, whereas the actual airlines credit cards, you're only going to get 2 times the points back. So it is better for travel specifically, and this is a travel video, so I had to include the card. And in general, the points back on a regular purchases is also pretty good. So gas stations, restaurants is also still pretty high. Now the sign-up bonus on this card is the best of all the ones we talked about, except the Discover It card could possibly be higher, but that's based on your own spending. So unless you're spending a lot of money, this has the best sign-up bonus. And that is 50,000 points. So keep in mind the second one we talked about was only 25,000 points for signing up. This one is 50,000 points, which is a $500 value, and you do have to spend $2,000 within 120 days, so about 4 months. So the amount you have to spend is higher than the other cards we talked about, but it is also within a longer period of time, and I still think it is a realistic amount of money to spend, because some of these other travel credit cards, you have to spend like $2,000 in a month instead of in like 4 months. And that is why I had to include that card in this video, because it could be the best overall travel credit card with a little bit of a caveat to it. Now these offers do change, so keep that in mind. Do the research at the time that you're looking for a card, because sign-up bonuses can end, they can change, they can go higher or lower. The amount of points you're going to get back can fluctuate depending on when you sign up for the card. So keep that in mind. And if you want to learn about other types of credit cards, like credit cards that are best for cash back instead of travel specific, then feel free to check out my other videos. I will link my credit card videos down below, and I post new videos every single Wednesday helping you figure out adulting while I'm attempting to figure it out myself. I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button and that subscribe button down below, and I also post vlogs on weekends, kind of taking you behind the scenes on my life. So I hope you have a great rest of your morning, evening, night, whatever it is for you. I'll see you Wednesday.